Tom, get on.
No way, we've got Tom live.
We've got Tom live with Jez's raised hand.
It's like that last scene out of Ghost where Patrick Swayze's got all around him.
I was going to say our younger participants might not know Ghost, but of course Joe does.
Yeah.
Contemporary for Joe.
Joe, I've no doubt Joe will have dressed up as him at some stage.
Yeah, but that'd have been his Dirty Dancing phase.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Tom won't know any of this stuff about Joe's weird fancy dress get-up, will he?
No, let's go. My head, right off my head.
What's that weird? Just used to dress as James Bond.
I don't mind that.
Oh, but you were 23.
Thank you to our four sponsors for supporting our podcast: Johnny Russell's Art Caterers and Milltown Pies, Alexander Grace Law, Jez and Lisa's Spoonful of Sweets, and SPE Furnishings. Links to their websites are available in the show notes and on our website. Don't forget to subscribe to get all the latest episodes as soon as they're released.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Housecast, what is now becoming almost legendary podcast that is created by friends and colleagues and cricketers from Lowerhouse Cricket Club. It's a real pleasure us doing it and trying to give some enjoyment to the fans out there. And now the season has started, just make it a bit easier for us rather than trying to get guests on and sometimes like pulling teeth, but still good banter and some good fun. So we're going to talk through the start of the season. Obviously the nets started and the training was underway. By all accounts, it was going really well. A couple of friendly games, and then into the Ron Singleton Trophy, and also the first league game. So we can just introduce the co-hosts that are going to help me go through these last couple of weeks. We've got Gary Morehouse, all the way from sunny Devon, I guess, Gary, now.
Yeah, getting that way, Jez. Yeah, I'm sure it's just the same up there, but all good.
We've got blue skies and everything, and it has been a little bit warmer than anticipated, but probably not as warm down there. So thanks very much for joining us, Gaz. It's good to get your take on things from afar, and also, I mean, it's not real team manager, is it? It's not. And I'm not really sure what your title is, dude. So we'll have to think of one soon. We've got Joe Beneducci on to help. Hey, Joe, you okay?
Right, Jez, thank you. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Evening all.
Yeah, good. It's really appreciate you coming on. And our other co-host, who we could not be without, he's one of the stalwarts in the first team now, albeit he's still in his 20s, but he helps out on this. He helps out with a lot of other stuff, and he's a great cricketer. Joe Martin, how's it going, Joe?
Very well, thank you, Jeremy. How are you?
Yeah, fine, thank you. Yeah, all good. Yeah, we've keep battling on, a busy week, but it's we get there. Great cricket at weekend. Well done to you and the rest of the first team on Sunday. I was over watching all that, and we'll go into that in a few more details later.
Marvellous. Yeah, no, it was a good weekend.
Yeah, that's good. You finish your nets tonight, so you've come in and I see you've dragged in a special guest for us to chat to, Joe. Do you want to talk about this young lad who's come on and maybe introduce him? I've never met him in real life.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in a very rare move for us, we actually signed a new player over the winter, and he has started really well at the club, which is great, and he seems to be enjoying his cricket, so that's fantastic. And that is our new opening bowler, Tom Walker. How are you, Tom?
I'm very good, thank you, Joe. Yeah, pleasure to be here, chaps.
Oh, that's good. Really appreciate it, Tom. It's really fantastic that you've come on. The fans are obviously seeing you perform. Just give us a brief resume, if you don't mind, of your career from 13, 14. You're obviously a good young cricketer at the moment, but where did it start?
Yeah, so started at Accrington in the juniors, from under 11s up to under 18s it would have been. Then got chances in the thirds and the seconds, just kind of playing there. They kind of built me up to playing first team cricket, and then last year played my first season in first team cricket Did reasonably well.
Yeah.
Very, very modest on that.
Did really well. Did reasonably well. And then obviously got kind of Ben give me a message and said, would you be interested in coming down here? I was like, yeah, of course. So yeah, that's kind of how it went.
Brilliant. And, going through the age groups, because we do like to, to listen to how youngsters progress from being 10 and 11. Any attraction from county at any representative games?
No, probably the only one. I've played one game. Lancs under 18s. That was last year. And that's the only game I've played. A couple of trials, but nothing of any major kind of really worth of mentioning. Yeah.
Okay, then. No, that's great. Thanks for giving us that little bit of background. And, I'm sure I say this for all the spectators. Welcome to the club and welcome to, what is not just a cricket club that has developed over the last couple of decades, but it's a larger family as well. I know this is the same at every club, but it's really good to get people in and to see how we are and to get you integrated with it. So really appreciate you coming on the show and joining the cricket club. So let's go straight into the game on Saturday.
Yeah.
The build-up to that, Joe Martin and Tom, how did it go that following the friendlies? If you want to briefly mention the friendlies, and some performances around those, and then the build-up to the game.
Well, the friendlies were cold.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
They were freezing. And
some good performances, though.
Yeah, some good performances.
I
had some runs with the bat in the first game. In the second game that we played against Accrington. There were a few 50s in there and some good performances with the ball as well. So that got us underway despite the coldness. And that led us into a kind of triple header weekend, which involved the charity T20 game on the Friday, which was good fun and raised lots of money for a great cause. Those that weren't here, it was kind of in memory of David Capel, and we raised lots of money for that charity, the Brain Tumour Trust. That was great, and obviously that led us to the Ron Singleton Cup on Saturday.
Okay, Joe. So just that's the build-up. It was great on Good Friday. I was down waiting and seeing how many people were there and a good competitive game. The Ron Singleton Trophy. How was a rivalry there with the Lowerhouse and Burnley team and fans as it would be with a league game or a cup game as normal, or is it a little bit low key?
I think in any of those games, you always want to. The intensity was there for both teams, I think. So I certainly it wasn't a friendly game in that sense. But it was there was no real animosity between the two teams. I would say it was good. It was good. Played in good spirits, as they would say.
Tom, did you get any aggro? Tom, did you get any aggro against Burnley? No,
not at all. No, all the players for them, they were perfectly kind of just very, very, very chilled. But then kind of when I was bowling, I did a bit of an over-exaggerated celebration. So maybe next time we play them, I might get a bit of aggro that time.
That might change. Okay, that's great. So you've gone. We've won the toss and we've decided to bat. Just talk us through the first over or two, Joe.
Ben got a single.
Okay.
And then I proceeded to miss the next three balls.
Did you play at them?
I played at them as well. They all hit me on my pad.
Right.
Got progressively closer to the stumps each time.
Right.
Until the third ball, last ball of the over, I was out LBW.
Is it a typical early season track, Joe?
I think it was a lack of talent, Gary, more than anything.
I was giving you an out there, mate.
Yeah.
Bit of an off ramp,
it was just I just but that obviously brought Paz to the crease. And he and Ben were doing okay, but Paz was out early. He was unfortunate to get bowled, but that brought Frankie to the crease, who batted
Yeah,
extremely well.
Yeah, I didn't realise that. Just looking there, there's 100 partnership there, isn't there, between
Yeah,
Frankie and Ben?
They batted really well, and I think the wicket was getting
progressively worse.
Yeah, it was getting trickier to bat on. It was getting slower. It was getting lower.
Right.
So yeah, they did a good job. It was one of those where they didn't really look in any danger, but you knew if we lost the wicket, after that scoring was going to be really tough.
And you could lose another couple of wickets. Yeah, it's a great effort that getting a ton on, this early in the season on a pitch that is playing the way it is. How did Frankie play? I mean, 64 off 98 balls. It's certainly not slow. It seems like a good knock from him. Yeah, was he aggressive at any stage, or just increase it?
Yeah, he scored very quickly, didn't he? He scored really quickly.
I think it was one of those innings, Jez, where he was really solid in defence, but anything that was short or over pitched, he pounced on and sort of kind of dispatched the bad ball, which was good. Because it's I guess it's easy to get bogged down actually if you're facing a lot of good balls, but then you don't quite pick up on the bad balls.
Yeah.
But he batted extremely well, and Ben did as well. Both batted.
Yeah. That's brilliant. It's a little bit like old-fashioned cricket, Joe, really, that me and Gary would remember, that we would always be told, block the good balls and wait for the bad one. It's quite simple. None of this ramp shite or reverse this or reverse that.
Well, they both played reverse sweep quite well in those innings as well, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think your favourite was a French tickle, Jez, so, I
could play a French tickle in the time, but only if it was a bad ball.
Yeah, go on.
And we'll talk about reverse sweeps maybe for the game the day after. So then there's a few they're not high scores. Paddy's 7, Dean 10, Charlie's got 6. They're all facing balls, which is really good on tracks like that. You're using the overs up. You're going to get the extras as well as the runs. You rather than being 120 all out. So that. It's a good competitive total, I guess, at that 149 all out. Only missed 11 balls that you faced, out of the total of the 50 overs. So how did you feel, Tom, at the interval? What was Ben's attitude and the pro at the interval for that score?
Really positive.
Good.
I'm not going to lie. I think Ben and Hazard would have been even happy with like 130 on that. Right. 130. I know that Ben said ideally wanted to get up to 160 for it to be comfortable. Because he's obviously spent more time out there than the rest of us with Ramsbottom as well. And he was literally saying once you get in, it's obviously easy to score on whatever pitch, but it's so hard to get in. It was all positive. Back the ball in as well. Obviously great from our point of view. That's good to hear that you've got that positive critic. Hawke is out there. I would imagine that's his type of game to just bat right through the overs and get whatever at the other end and hope for the amateurs contribute as well. And they've used 7 bowlers, so that it's not that's got to be credit to our batting. So you've opened the bowling, Tom. Joe's taken the first ball. And then you've, what is it? Your second over, you've got your first wicket. Is that right? Yeah.
Brilliant. Talk us through that.
Yeah, so I think Joey started really well from the other end. So it was just kind of more like just trying to back him up first. Yeah. And I got absolutely punched through the covers by their opener. He blocked it fully. It was the biggest half volley. Yeah. And it was exactly the same ball that I bowled. Yeah. But he just nipped back through the gate and he tried to do the same shot, but he just moved a bit off the seam. Bowled in, went crazy. So happy to kind of make an impact on the game. Yeah. And the rest of them were saying he's quite a big player as well, so it was good that we got him out. Yeah. I can't remember. Yeah. What's his name?
Liam Bedford.
Liam Bedford.
Yeah, that's it. Super happy about that. I think it was last ball of the over as well, so that kind of took it into Joey's over as well. Got the momentum going for our innings really.
Yeah, and then that Joe gets a wicket in the next over, so they're 12 for 2, stood up against it. But they've still got some quality players in there.
Yeah.
who can build innings and bat round each other. Joe, what was it? I know you hadn't batted very long, but did the pitch seem to be changing much whilst we started our bowling, or was it was it very much the same?
I think it was very much the same. I think we the other batters in our team benefited from the early conditions potentially. It wasn't, but it was never easy to bat on at any point. But
no,
batting innings, I think we were really patient, and as I said, we really pounced on the bad ball, which was really good. And in our innings when we were bowling, I think that we were really patient. Actually, we were patient. Yeah. We stuck to a plan. We didn't go searching for wickets, and that I think was potentially the difference between the two teams.
Brilliant. So just talk us through then between you both. Tom, did you bowl 8 overs through, or did you have a break?
No, I bowled 5 at the start. And then 3 coming on at the end as well.
Okay, so they've... Sorry. Go on, Tom, sorry. No, go on, Tom.
I was just going to talk about the plans as well.
Good.
And then Pazza, we worked on it at training on the Thursday. Out a specific plan that we were going to have as a bowling kind of attack, I guess you could say. And that's literally all I tried to stick to, just trying to follow that as best as I could. And it went well, really. Yeah.
No, it's good. And you look, I mean, to be fair, I'm trying to get some conversation out of, were they ever in the game? But you look at Hawke's 22 or 36, and then that the lad who bats 7, Shah, 6, is 23 or 53. Did they put a partnership together of any sort that give you any concern, Tom?
Well, at a point, obviously, when Hawke's in, he's a very good player. He doesn't kind of really give you any chances, really. But then I guess with Joe's laughing here. But then obviously with bowlers like Pazza, Hawke, there's always a chance to kind of get that wicket. So no, that's good. And it's not even worth going through the others because there's no scores there of any note, and obviously the game fizzled out.
Yeah, but I would say though is, Jez, that the Burnley team, they can bat all the way down to number 11. So whilst it looks comfortable, a comfortable victory, and it was, to be honest with you, but you're not worried, but you always got to be aware that they could always have some kind of partnership. All the way down to number 11, they could bat, and they could put 50 or 60 on. Batters had 80s in the first team, and Fergs had 50s, and so you just can't get complacent, even though you've taken a few wickets.
I think just looking at the bowling figures or the comparison, obviously not watching the game, but it seems from what you've been saying you two played was that they bowled 10, 13 wides to our 2, and we've had 6 bowled, an LBW and a Corton bowled. So that looks like we were just bowling pretty straight, and maybe they did spray around a little bit, but it looks like that's where the major difference was to me, just looking at the scorecard, which I know doesn't always tell the full picture. Yeah,
no, I agree with that, Gaz. And what you're saying there, Joe, I laugh it can back down, but so can we. It's not.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
If you'd have lost that, you'd have been extremely gutted, wouldn't you? So you finished with figures of 8 overs, 5 for 16, Tom. What a great debut for the club. Congratulations. I bet you were, extremely happy as you were leaving the field and getting the trophy. What did that feel like?
Yeah, it was great. I didn't actually realise before we started playing that it was a trophy. Like, I thought, I didn't actually realise that. Not like the importance of it, but like I didn't actually realise it was even not a prize, but a trophy at the end of it.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was. I thought it was just like a Burnley rivalry, like friendly that you do every year.
Did you really?
Yeah, I genuinely did.
Charity Shield, man.
And then, like the head of the Lancashire League thing, he come and was like, "Oh, we're presenting Lowerhouse with a trophy." And then I figured out what it was. It's like cup versus league, isn't it? It's like the Charity Shield.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but I didn't know that at the start. I've never been involved in it before, so I didn't know. So.
Well, we've been in it. We've been involved in it as a club a few times. I mean, we've won the league. Joe, help me out here. We've won the league 4 times and the cup 3 times. So we've played in this game 6 times before, and before weekend we'd only halved the cup once.
That's right.
We've lost that game 5 times.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So
yeah.
You always break our duck top.
Is that another star for the?
Yeah, we'll have to come up with another symbol for the crest. Yeah, I don't know what that will be.
Yeah. In one of the last games we played, the last time we played at Burnley in the Ron Singleton, me and Charlie were batting, and we faced 5 free hits for no balls, and we missed all of them.
Oh, that's a great accolade to pin yourself to.
I was bowled on one. I left one. Padded up.
Goal 2-0 Burnley.
So, Tom, how much of your collection did you spend in the Gloaters Arms?
I didn't get one.
Oh, you're kidding?
No, I didn't get a collection. I got a collection on the Deccan Chargers game for the 50. But obviously we just give that to charity. So
yeah.
But yeah, I didn't get one for the 5.
But you still spent plenty of time gloating though in that in the bar afterwards.
No, I was too busy getting back to the club.
All right, fair enough.
I wanted to get in the burger bar.
Yeah.
I needed a burger.
Joe, was there a few on the Burnley game?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, so I think of the terracing, there was a reasonable amount of people there. Yeah, I don't think it wasn't rammed, but there was enough there for there to be a reasonable atmosphere, I would say.
Yeah, the Deccan Chargers boys, they provided the atmosphere.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. They came after.
Yeah, so the people that we played on Friday come on Saturday, obviously supporting us.
And they've been to watch Colne Football Club.
So they were all in matching hats.
Right, brilliant.
They'd all bought these bright red Colne FC hats that they were walking around in.
Brilliant. And it's good of them to do that. And I know we've supported and there's been a lot of communication between us and them, and because Capel sub-pro'd for us, but that's so good of them to still stick around and and watch the game. So let's move on to Sunday. Anything around the prep from Joe Martin or Tom around the build up to the game before you got over there and the warm ups? Anything that we need to know about?
Well, it was slightly different. Francois had to pull out early in the month, so that meant that Henry Cotton made his league debut.
Brilliant.
Which was fantastic.
Brilliant.
Fantastic as a child, so it's very good, but also made me feel a bit old, even at 28, Jez.
Yeah, Henry's 17 now, isn't he? And he's obviously been at the club since you were born, really. But since birth, with Charlie and Louise. But then coming right through all the junior sections, he's always been a good player, a good attitude, and he's had some scores in the second. So that's fantastic for him to make his debut. Congratulations to Henry for that. Did it affect the morale at all, or the build up to the game that Francois wasn't playing? Because we can't get away from his contribution with the bat and the ball can change games. Did we think that was going to cause us any major issues?
I think from a team perspective, it didn't seem like it did.
Yeah.
I'm naturally always worried about things.
You're just a born worrier, aren't you, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my goal is for you to not get relegated.
Yeah.
So providing that'll be a success.
Yeah. We'll see how we go with that.
I don't think so. There's enough good players in that team, to be competitive in all the games, and having Francois in there, only heightens the.
Yeah.
But he's such a great player.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So with again, it's my personal feeling this, but I think a lot of people share. Ramy's a great ground, very picturesque. It's one of the biggest grounds in the league. Generally plays fair and well. And the fans, are also quite fair. Did you get there for the start, Dooch? I know we had a chat halfway through. Were you there from the start?
I might have missed about the first 4 balls, but yeah, I was there pretty much.
All right, just if you don't mind, then just to give Joe and Tom a bit of a listen, and they can have a rest. Just how did it start with the game and the scoring side of it?
Well, they had a very good opening partnership, but they weren't scoring quickly. Tom, obviously you were bowling, so you probably, had a better sense of this than me. But whilst the openers hung around, particularly right at the start of the innings, they weren't getting away from us at all. They did start to increase the scoring a little bit as they've been in a while. But early on, we looked like we had them pretty much in check. Right,
good. Now I thought you'd say that because of how the game went when I walked on. I think they just lost the first wicket, and I was getting myself settled, putting my Zimmer frame down and getting my chair out. And so
get your flask out.
Get my flask out and my tartan blanket for my legs. And then they seem to, I'm looking at the scoreboard. I thought that's quite strange scoring. Obviously it's difficult in April and pitches, have not dried out much at all. But then they lost the second wicket and their pro came in, and this is where I'll go back to Tom and Joe Martin. All of a sudden, and I don't think I'm wrong in saying this, they were late 90s with 20 overs to go. So general rule of thumb is you double it after 30 overs. There's potentially 200 on there. Did I read that right, of how it had gone really slow and then seemed to speed up very quickly? How did it seem to you, Tom, when you were bowling?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So I think Ben realised early so there was just nothing in the pitch at the start, bowling anyway. Ben realised that early and got Pazza on. I think in my opening spell I bowled 3 overs. I think I only bowled 5 overs in that game.
You did,
The pitch was just dead. On the pitch that we played on before against Burnley, literally the day before. When you pitched it up, it was generally doing something when it got there.
Yeah.
The Rammy pitch, no matter what swing scene, nothing. It was just dead straight. So the spin come on early, and obviously basically all that we tried to do was just kind of keep it as tight as possible, not go for many runs.
Yeah.
But when Pazza come on and
Paddy came on.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, Paddy. When Pazza and Paddy come on, again he just kept it tight. Wickets started falling, but when the pro come in, he did accelerate the scoring a little bit, but he was never like he kind of got away from us at all.
No,
it was more like we kind of had it under control, and it was just about because you knew they wanted to hit boundaries. There was lots of singles, and there was no big shots coming out, and you knew that's what they wanted to do because you only got a certain recommendations as a batsman.
Absolutely.
Especially with the opener as well. I think was it Opin? Alex Opin, especially him, you could see he kind of wanted to go. And then Paddy and Pazza did a really good job, and they fell in clumps really. So
what was the run out like, Tom? Was it a direct hit swooping from the covers?
I was I should have caught it. I was kind of on my heels, but then when I was running, I was just like, right, I have to whip it now. Now I've kind of not jibbed out, but now I've not got there. I need to hit the wicket now, so it was kind of a relief when it hit.
It was a good run out, Gaz. It was, because it was an half volley that could have either taken your teeth out or gone through your legs, and he picked it up well. But that's what you've said there, Tom, is really quite interesting around getting bogged down. And I genuinely feel, me and Gary played a lot of games like this where the pitches were similar to that. Quite generally throughout the season. But if you get a pro that comes in and thinks, right, I'm going to take not a massive risk, but I'm not hanging around here and wait for that ball that's going to get me out. I'm going to start scoring quite quickly, take risks, calculated risk, but put the pressure back on them. It can soon end up that you're thinking, where are we going here with this game? And all of a sudden they're 120, then 140, and they've only 2 down, and then it's a big. There's a big chance that they're going to just outscore you. So what I'm going to explain now here is, and Joe Beneducci saw this, Ben did a fantastic job there with the way that he rotated the bowlers, the fielding positions. He just completely starved their pro.
Exactly, yeah.
It was outstanding. And I don't think the pro really understood what was happening until there were probably 12 overs to go and they'd lost 2 or 3 more wickets.
Yeah.
And, what do you think of that, Joe? I mean, you're there, and I know you chat to Ben, and and through with Paddy and whatever, with the spinners bowling. But I thought it was the best part of Ben's captaincy I've seen and keep, and there was a chance they weren't going to get 120 at one stage. He'd done that well with it. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's really accurate, Jez.
Yeah, it was outstanding.
It would have been easy to keep the fast bowlers on, or even bring the pro back as well. That's the other thing. Typically the pro will bowl 15 overs every week.
Yeah.
Every team.
Yeah.
But Ben identified the kind of bowling that would be useful on that wicket.
Yeah.
Stuck to the plan, him and Topsy and Paddy. And Paz bowled really well. It was just so
Never
mind. Yeah. Never mind more.
Yeah.
I think it was outstanding. It was great. Really good. Yeah. Especially to restrict them to 149 and get the bonus points as well. It was fantastic.
Yeah. It was, it could have been so easy. Certainly with 10 overs to go to start putting, he brought himself on and he did a great job with the bowling. But I was, with the fielding, he wasn't putting the field. Ram is a difficult ground to field if you're trying to protect the outfield, and he didn't do that. He was stopping the rut scoring and then give him the odd signal, and you could see the pro didn't want to hit him, and then all of a sudden there's 10 left. Yeah. So great performance. 148.
Should also mention, Jez, as well. I don't give nearly enough credit, but Paddy took his 300th league wicket.
Oh yeah, I believe so.
As well, which is a fantastic achievement.
It is.
He worked really hard on his game, and he really deserves it. So congratulations for that as well. Done, fantastic achievement.
Crikey, I've never heard you like that before, Joe. You're all right.
Has he been drinking, Tom?
Yeah.
I'm in a philosophical mood, chaps.
Yeah. Crikey, did you know before the game you were on 297, or was it? Did it just creep up? Yeah.
I think when I'd spoken to him about I really hope I get the 3 wickets this year.
The negativity of it.
The first game was fantastic. I'm really proud.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, 38 for 3. Got his 300th wicket. I think he's only a couple off Roger Brom now. So let's fingers crossed. I know Roger will be really pleased and looking out for that. And Toxie's bowled a good spell. Tom there, you've kept it tight at the start with Hawke, and Ben's picked up the 4 wickets at the end, which could really have gone to anyone.
Yes. That's another really good point, actually. Although, Tom said that the wicket was dead and there was nothing in it for the fast bowlers, it's really easy on those kind of wickets to go around the park. So to, again, not go for many runs and restrict them, it was a real effort. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, going out to bat, again, we don't want to keep talking about confidence and how sky high it is, and it was on Sunday. You're obviously all feeling great going out there. Just talk us through their opening bowlers, Joe Martin. They're decent players. They've played quite a while.
Yeah.
Any concerns or any plans that you had? Obviously, don't give any secrets away, but anything before you went out of how you're going to take that target to bits?
No, not really. It was, again, we had pretty much 50 overs on the wicket, so we knew what was how the wicket was going to play. We knew that their spinners were going to play a big part, and with the seamers first up, we just wanted to put as much pressure on them as possible. Ben did that first ball by hitting a boundary, and we raced to 20, I would say, off maybe 3 or 4 overs. And that meant that they had to change their bowling and change their plans, because I think that they would have preferred for their spinners to be bowling much later in the innings, so then they could take the game deeper. But they had to bring John Fielding on early, and I wish they didn't. But there we go.
Yeah, no, you're perfectly right, and we won't talk about your game plans because we don't want to give too much away, if you will. But that early, the early stage that was set, you were right when we were 20, but there's only 4 or 5 overs gone. People settle a little bit when they come in, and then Charlie gets run out. That seemed a little bit of a strange situation that's got on there. Has Charlie talked about it, or?
He hasn't spoken to me about it. I think
I had a quick chat with him because I didn't think he was out. I was square of the wicket at the time, and I thought it looked harsh. And he said he felt it was a harsh decision, but what can you do?
Right.
He actually said he'd looked at the fielder and thought that he would be relatively safe taking one to him.
Right.
He didn't use those exact. He didn't use those exact words. He was slightly less PC when he described the fielder. But yeah, it was direct hit, and he was short. So
yeah, so that brings the pro in, and at this stage they've got fielding on. I don't think they've got the other spinner on at this stage. They kept their pro back, hadn't they? But it did dry up, which was always going to happen. And then Stephen gets an LBW, which, you know, I was at third man to where he was when he did it, and he didn't seem particularly happy with it. It seemed going outside the off stump or a long way down. But he's given out. So at that stage, you know, we're up against it again, aren't we? There, it's 33 for 3. We've got Paddy going in. What's your thoughts, Tom, about that? You know, the way our batters, you know, we've got Paddy going in at that sort of stage. I know you will have played against, you know, a few of these players last year, but you know, do you rate some of these players? Is the things you're getting from them as a senior players from watching them bat?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, brilliant.
Our batting lineup so strong, especially at the top. Well, again, like as Joe said about Burnley, kind of we bat down to 11.
Yeah.
And yeah, our top 5 is very, very strong. Blaise always giving me hints in the nets and stuff like that. And what I should improve my game. But yeah.
It's great, and there is a good balance as well, because Paddy can come in and do what he did there, you know, steady the ship.
Yeah.
He's got us beyond the 50. You know, I never thought we would lose by, you know, running out of overs or balls. You know, I think they would have to bowl us out. So he's got us above the 50 and calms things down. But then we have another little bit of a collapse where, you know, Dean gets himself out. And then Ben gets out to that reverse sweep. Joe Martin, you want to describe that to us, please?
I wish I could, but at that point I didn't watch.
Why did I just know you were going to say that, Arson?
I honestly, as I'm getting older, I'm finding watching the game more and more difficult.
I see Joe's fence has had a paint job for this season, hasn't it?
And it's gone wider. Yeah. How do we know you'd say that?
What I will say is Ben's playing of the reverse sweep has been fantastic. He's worked on it He worked on it a lot, and quite a lot of runs. So you know, if you play that shot and you get out, people sort of question to it. But if you get ball playing a forward defensive, nobody bats an eyelid.
Joe Martin, don't just sit on the fence and then get all protective of the captain. I wasn't criticising for it. I just wanted to talk through it.
Other people will, Jez. They'll say, "What a bloody stupid shot that is."
Yeah, but they might not know anything about cricket, and you can't. What don't people say this? Dooch, what do you think? What I mean, it was getting frustrated. Let's say that. How did you see that passage of the game?
I just was hoping that we would get through Fielding's overs unscathed, because the way that Ben had tucked into those medium paces at the start of the innings, I was just thinking if he sticks around and he's still there after either or both of the spinners have finished their spell, he'll fill his boots. He'll fill his boots at the back end, and I was waiting to see what they were going to do with the bowling, because they couldn't honestly have been thinking that they were going to leave the medium paces to bowl at the death if Ben was still in. Because he would have just we'd have won at a canter, I think. So when he got out to the spinner playing that shot, as you said, I was disappointed only because he was out, you know, at that crucial time.
Yeah, it was this is a bit poor on my form. This really, there's one bowler allowed to bowl 15. Is that right?
Yeah.
Correct.
I wonder why Fielding didn't bowl with 15.
I was just about to say that, Jess, and I think it's similar to what I'm not saying I make a very good point, but similar to what I said during our bowling innings. Yeah, it'd be really easy to just throw a pass of the ball when he's bowling and say, "You're the pro, ball 15 overs." So I think that might have played a bit in it. You know, the pro's going to bowl 15 overs, but you know, looking back,
no matter what,
looking back, you'd say Fielding's got to bowl another 2 there, because
I think so.
Fourth was not to be sniffed at, is it?
Yeah, well,
they
were having that conversation when I was out there. So after, because I faced Fielding's last ball. Yeah. It was quite like obvious that the pro was going to bowl a 15 kind of thing. It was very clear to them in their eyes that the pro, he was going to do the 15. So maybe it was like a pre kind of meditated thing.
So was Ben was out in Johnny Fielding's last over then, was it?
Yeah, last over.
Yeah.
Not that Ben would have known that necessarily. He might have thought that he was Fielding.
Well, it wasn't. It didn't have to be his last over, Joe, did it? He could have bowled another 2.
Yeah.
But the pro then come to bowl the 15 overs. So he's quite. I did think that on the day. I didn't think he bowled enough. But anyway, again, this is Ben has batted fantastically well, taking the game to them in the early part of the innings. Then stuck around and seen off the difficulties of the slow bowlers and with Paddy and Dean's hung around. And then Henry's come in at 7 and he didn't look, other than being so slight, he just looked like a natural first team batter. He didn't look to be phased, played proper cricket shots, defended extremely well. And then Ben played a couple of good shots and was looking to try and work it around, which was definitely the right thing to do. And then the only reason I mentioned about that reverse sweep, I don't think I've ever seen it before in my life, Gary. It was almost like it was planned. So Ben's playing reverse sweeps. He's going down on his knee to a certain shot to play it, but the ball's bouncing maybe thigh high. So he ends up playing a reverse sweep, stood up and just hit it straight at slip. No one moved. It was almost like it was planned. It just bumped straight out at the slip. It was quite bizarre, and off it pops, and everyone's gutted, and they're really upbeat there. They think, right, we've won this now. We've got this young kid in who's only just bigger than the stumps. He looks all right, but we'll soon get him out. And then there's another young lad coming out. So what was the feeling, Tom? You're in the dressing room waiting for that, and Ben gets out. Just talk us through that. You're going out to bat, and then the next 4 or 5 overs whilst you and Henry get settled in. How did that feel?
I think it was kind of all done in the first innings, really. So I didn't feel too much pressure at all. Obviously, if there's 200 on board, it's a different story. You've got to start it straight away, then, and you've got to kind of push it on straight away. But I batted with Henry before, like in the Lancs League. They were in the same age group of years. So I know he's a very good cricketer. Obviously, training with him as well. Like he can bat. Do you know what I mean? So it was quite chill out there between the two of us. It was just kind of like just bat, just face the ball as it comes. There's no need to do any pushing at all. I think it was 3 and over we needed, and often there were times where they'd bowl a wide, we'd get a couple of singles off the over. We'd not done anything at all rash or needed anything, done anything major in the over, but we were still kind of keeping it ticking over, and that was kind of our aim. And then just kind of kept pushing it on, and then obviously Henry got out to a questionable LB, I guess you could say, but like you said, he didn't look phased at all, when he was out.
No.
Actually, telling him to get down the other end so he could face more balls. Left arm spinner as well. They're pro.
He's a fantastic batter and spin. He's really, really good, and he has a lot. And he should be really confident batting it as well. Really well.
It seemed that way, Joe. It seemed that whilst they were tying us up and we'd get 1 and over, and then 2 off the next over, and maybe 3, and then back to 1. No one seemed phased. The run rate was never going to get up to 6, but it's creeping, above 3. It's getting towards 4, but neither of Tom or Henry seemed. And I've got to say again, just watching the side, there wasn't a massive crowd on, and it was getting cold at this stage. But I thought, the Rammy players, behaved extremely well with 2 young kids out there. It could have been right in your ears and giving you a load of grief. I'm not saying they were standoffish, but I thought they behaved very well towards you. It was really good to see.
Yeah, I think it's probably a fair thing for. I know Henry's played some T20 stuff and bits and pieces like that. So it's obviously his league debut. But temptation when a few weeks fall out and you've got more experienced batters further down the thing is to drop a kid further down the. It happened in our day, Jez. I think. Before when you and I were captain, we get any youngster, if they've made runs you know, in the top 3 or 4, then you try and get them in the top 5 at least, you know, in the batting, or if they've bowled opening bowling in seconds or something like that, you try and get them on, you know, early doors and not when as a last resort and stuff. And okay, it can backfire sometimes and really dent the confidence, but you know, by the sound of it, Henry's got confidence anyway. But you know, that's something like that'll do him world of good.
It really would. And you know, I'm looking there. You put 26 on between yourself and Henry, Tom, but it felt like nearer to 40 in the way that the game changed.
Yeah, exactly. I think it like sucked a lot of the energy out, especially when I come into bat. Like I said, the Rami players obviously were up. They were all every single one of them were chatting. And talking and kind of like geeing the players on. And then I guess just before Henry got out, it was the keeper and the captain, and that was kind of it. Like the rest of it, kind of, it was a force from those two to kind of get the other players to talk. So definitely it did feel, I think it was the amount of balls that we faced as well that were just there was no danger really of getting out. And I think that's what kind of did it really.
Yeah, and 26 in the context of a low scoring game.
Yeah.
You know, you took a chunk out of what we still needed to get there. We needed 70 odd when you two came together, and you've got a third of them in a partnership between two debutants. I mean,
7th wicket,
yeah. It was it, and you look at it. The other thing with that, Joe, you're right. It is a good percentage of the total, but they've also used 100 balls up there at least during the partnership. I don't know exactly, but Henry'd faced 52 and Tom 60. And getting rid of overs in games like that, not losing wickets, you'll always be there at the end. And it was funny when you both started batting, Tom. Where I was sat, there's always the legendary Rami fan sat behind us. I think, you know, the youngest one is probably 80, and there's still 6 or 7 of them sat there. And they're, we've won this now. 2 young kids are coming out, and one of them says, "Oh, watch out though, that Blizzard's still not battered yet, you know." And you two worked it around for as much as you did, and I was convinced. And again, like Gary's saying there, you know, having faith in the young lads and giving them the experience is just, there is no bad in it. There's nothing to lose from it. And then I was convinced Blaise would come in and take someone for, you know, a 6 and then a 7 in another over, and it would really reduce it. But Blaise gets out after 2 balls. What was Joe Martin? I know you'll sit on the fence again, but what was the feeling in the dressing room then? I don't know. I wasn't there.
I didn't see it. But I don't think I've ever had as much confidence in a person as I have with Blaise ever.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of anything. When he walked out to bat, I always think, period.
But it wasn't. So how did you feel then?
I've got no idea. I was very worried. I was cold. I was nervous. I was
crying.
Some kind of breakdown. And I went and stood next to my good pal at that point, Joe Hawke, as he walked out to bat. So
good. And how good is that? That, you know, we all know he's mad as a box of frogs in Hawke, and he has got so much ability in all 3 formats of the game. And he just didn't look like, I don't know what was said when he came out, what his instructions were, but the pair of you, you know, I know it got tight, you know, there was only 4 balls left in the end, but you look to have it under complete control. Is that fair?
Yeah, he was the one carrying. Yeah.
He
was a cool head. And I was the kind of like, I don't know. But yeah, it was kind of calm. He come out, kind of whacked the second ball for 4. So he just come out against the pro as well. I was just like, I've been nerdling this around for like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 overs, and he just come out second ball, whacked him for 4. So then kind of like spirits lifted. But yeah, it was very calm. I think we knew kind of, again, there was kind of no real danger of us not winning, especially if we were at the overs as well.
We needed 4 or 5 and over at that point.
Yeah, there was at one point where we needed 5 and over.
We never got more than 5.
We needed 50.
Yeah, but again, there was no, like, from one end, it was very, with the pro bowling especially, it was very tight, but there was definitely, like balls you could pick off on the other end. So yeah, that's kind of what we're aiming for, really.
Yeah, and I think, and again, I don't know if you planned it, because I'm not sure Hawke's ever planned anything like this, but you always had a seamer had to bowl the last over.
Right.
And that lad Pike came on. I think he bowled 3. I think he bowled 3 of the last overs from the old paper mill end. But it just seemed time perfect. You know, you didn't just that next to last over. You just had not to get out, either of you. And you know, I don't think it was a maiden. I think you got 3 off it, and you would have won it from the other end. I have no doubt whatsoever. So it seemed again, just like the fielding and the way Ben marshalled that. It seemed a real professional, plan of how we go about it. So it's a fantastic result. That really well done.
And their pro, he ended down. I know he's not played a lot, but he's Test match player. He's played Tests for South Africa and slow left arm traditionally at a lot of levels, but especially at amateur level, can be really one of the toughest types of bowling to face. And I'm not saying going out, because I were never brilliant, but certainly going down your order, you'd say even more so difficult to face.
Yeah.
So fair play. Sounds a great performance.
Yeah, I agree. I'll second that in that. Rami will be, they'll be in the top half of the league, and certainly with that lad. So great win, that lad. Well done, fantastic. Dooch, anything about that win before we move on?
No, my observation on the chase was it was a bit of an Lowerhouse-like chase in a way. We didn't hit loads of boundaries.
Yeah.
We can get Hawke's back at number 10. He's not an out-and-out number 10 by any stretch. But if you get your number 8 and your number 10 knocking 50 off, you usually think that a chunk of them have come in lusty blows, don't you?
Yeah.
Not these boys. They were playing proper cricket. They were looking at the field, working it into the gaps. Tom's right, Hawke did it one over the top for 4, but the very next ball, they put the man out. So he hit the next ball down to long off along the floor. Proper chase, proper sensible cricket. They were giving us wides. We were not panicking because the runs were coming all the time. Yeah. And it was a really mature performance, I thought.
It was fantastic. Tom, we don't know a great deal about you yet, but the paragraphs that Dooch has just come out with, they use sensible, mature and Joe Hawke in the same paragraph. I'm not sure they've ever been in the same paragraph with that barn pot. So cheers, thanks very much for talking us through the first team games there. We really look forward to the next games that come along, and you first teamers keep practicing, keep working hard, and I'm sure you will continue because you're all good players. Around the second team, we had a little chat before we came on. Dooch, I know you were at Rami, so you didn't see it. I spoke to Matt about it. What was your take? Did you go back to the club and chat to them?
Matt was obviously disappointed in the performance. Got a bit of a thumping really, and he sort of put that down mainly to the first half. The batting performance didn't get any wins. He was sort of a bit rusty, maybe, bit of lack of match practice, maybe, and hopefully they'll quickly move on from that and get quickly.
Yeah, I mean that was very similar to what he said to me. He did talk about the inconsistencies of the real younger players. The not being able to rely on bowling the right lines or the right length, but they are still young kids, and it's difficult right at the start of the season. It's brand new. They probably aren't as experienced at getting the bodies ready for the start of the season like the first team are. But I'm sure they'll bounce back. And it's good to tell the listeners that our third team have had a fantastic start to the season. The top of the league, played 3, won 3. Anyone on the podcast give any outstanding performances for anyone on here? Right, okay. Joe Martin, I thought you'd have known about some of the young kids and how they've gone on. You're coaching them all the way through.
I wish. Do you know what? I'm embarrassed to say that I don't know. I knew that they'd won.
I saw the card. But Elliot got 30 odd, didn't he? Elliot Johnson got 30 odd.
The batting. I'm gonna have to edit that bit, guys.
And the wickets were shared around.
Probably, yeah, and we'll do more homework next time on it. But congratulations to the thirds. Keep that going. Keep yourself get that winning mentality and push the second team. So we'll look forward to this weekend. We're not sure yet whether we're going to do weekly podcasts or fortnightly podcasts. I think we'll see how the games have gone, and we'll pick and choose. When we've won, we'll do loads, and when we've lost, we'll sulk and not come on. But it's fantastic. So we will wrap up this podcast very shortly. I'll just run round the hosts and the guests to see if they've anything to add or anything of any significance that the listeners need to know about. Gaz, I'll first come to you. Anything you want to add?
I don't think so, Jez. I think it's just good to get back into this flow again and talk about some recent cricket, and look forward to getting a couple more guests on throughout the season, maybe. And like I say, welcome to Tom, and a good start to his Lowerhouse career. May continue in Spadeful, and hopefully I'll get up there and share a beer with you sometime.
Brilliant. Look forward to it, Gaz. We'll get it arranged. Dooch, anything you need to tell us around the seriousness of the club committee and the cricket committee and the selection committee? Is there anything you're allowed to tell us?
Nobody's interested in serious stuff like that. No, nothing. There's nothing to report, really. Nothing.
Oh, you're right.
No
there.
Major. No dramas.
Joe Martin, do you want to add anything? Jump off your fence for 30 seconds? Or?
I'd just like to say it was a really good weekend, but we can't get ahead of ourselves. We've got some tough games coming up, so you've got to make sure that we're on the money. And I would also, I think this is, I don't know, this might have to be cut out, I guess. But I'd also like to congratulate John Fielding on taking his 1,000th Rammy win as well.
Yeah, it was a pity they didn't work out the bowling a little bit better, and he could have bowled an extra 2 overs against us.
Might have been 1,002.
Yeah,
Jez, have you heard this on the Fielding, on the subject of Fielding? Have you heard this that he's not playing again now? He came out of retirement to play the game against us, and that's it now. He's back into retirement.
Yeah, well, I was chatting to some of their old players and or ex-players, and they said, "Oh yeah, he's just come back. They don't know how long he's going to play because he retired middle of last season, didn't he?" Yeah, no, I haven't heard why he's done that or if he is going to not play anymore. It's strange, really. Is it just? I don't think he's got anything against us, has he?
I think it's we're in the bar after, and somebody didn't turn up to training or something.
Right. Yeah.
Must have a small squad.
I mean, he can still do a job, can't he? But you look there. He's 49, I think. Looking at that, so don't get any easier.
Did he not bring up a milestone in the game as well?
Fielding
1,000th league wicket. Yeah, on the Lancs League were saying it was he got his 1,000th league wicket in the game against us. Yeah. So maybe that's why he played.
That's an interesting fact, Joe. Yeah.
It is. We didn't know that, dude. That's really interesting. I think for the listeners, Joe Beneducci's been walking up and down his room watching football, and he's obviously missed it. Joe Martin, that's why he brought it up. You knob. So thanks for your input there. So we'll finish off with the guest, Tom. Really appreciate you coming on, and great to see you down at Cricket Club. We'll have a catch up next time we're down there. Have you enjoyed your time on the podcast, first of all?
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. I've been wanting to get on it since I joined, so yeah.
Brilliant. Well, we can get you on again.
I've been talking to John, saying, get me on the podcast, get me on it. Give me the message and give me the call up. Super.
Good. That's good. We'll get you on again.
That's the position we're in now, Jess. People want to come on it rather than all that.
Yeah, very popular. I aim to become a host one day, so.
Well, we don't know about that. We'll have to stay. No, that's good. I got accosted on Good Friday saying that there's a lot of the fans want Joe Martin, Graham Martin, and Paddy Martin to be on with Alex hosting it. So we'll wait and see if we can get that going.
That won't happen. Number one, this is my Zoom account.
The House Martin cast.
House Martin cast. We're happy again. So anyway, thanks very much, everyone, for listening. We really appreciate your support and like us and tweet it. We're up to thousands of listeners now all over the country. We'll maybe get Adam on at some stage to explain whereabouts in the world we have got various listeners. So subscribe to it. You'll get the podcast earlier than if you don't subscribe. So thanks, everyone, and we'll catch up real soon.
Congrats to Johnny Fielding getting his 1,000th wicket.
house to save the house.